Hi, I'm Dobry, the CEO and co-founder of Magnimetrics, and in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how to leverage one of the Magnimetrics templates to analyze the profitability of your own business. We're on the login screen, and as soon as you sign in, you're taken to the dashboard where you have some training materials over here with overviews of the different features, and you also have the templates that you can start with. If you go to projects, you start with one project that's called Get to Know Magnimetrics, and what you can do is you can go ahead and start product tour, which is a guided tour that will take you across everything that you can do with the product. Let's skip it for now and let's start with one of the templates. Let's say you want to look at economic order quantity. Just hit plus. And I have the option to copy over sample data or leave it blank so I can import my data. It's generally good to start with copying over the sample data so you can look at how the template works and figure out if you want to customize it or not. Just going to go ahead and click create. It's going to create a private copy of this template in my projects and take me to its dashboard, where I can edit some of the details for the project itself. I can create a copy of this project with the data or without the data. If I want to split the project into separate sets of analysis that I can maybe use for different companies, I can delete it, I can edit the details, or I can make it public if I want to share it with the community. Then we have three sections down here: importing your data, which has different import templates, the reports that we can run, and also our assumptions, formulas, and a view that shows us all the imported data. You have those over here as well. So if we go to data imports, we have one import template called historical data, and we can see that it only has 3 lines that we need in order to calculate economic order quantity. If we go to assumptions, you have 3 assumptions that are always there that you can always reference in written text, for example, like company name, company owner name, project name. And here we have a custom assumption called period days, which is the number of days in a period, 365 for 1 year, which you can reference in formulas. We have 3 formulas, and you can see that, for example, our period days assumption is used in our order frequency. And those formulas are iterative, meaning that we can have a number of orders formula here that calculates annual demand over economic order quantity, which pulls from the economic order quantity formula, and then we can grab this number of orders and calculate order frequency off of it. If you go to reports, you have one report here, which you can open or you can directly launch from here. Let's open it, and you can see that we have a heading. We are inputting the company name so that whenever we copy this project and use a different company, we can always have this updated. We have some text with some information, how economic order quantity is calculated. Then you have a page break, have the model calculation, where we have a table showing the input data and different steps of the calculation, which are preset in our formulas page. Have another page break, and we are doing a short analysis. And what this does, if you open it, it uses a simple script to perform different checks, whether metrics are rising or declining, what's the relationship between different metrics, and outputting different text based off of that. You have all the formulas and functions that you can use over here on the side in the syntax help. And you can also choose to calculate this aggregated or separate for each period. How we can use a project for our own data. If I go to dashboard, and let's say I pick the profitability ratios, I can copy that without the sample data. And it's going to take me to the profitability ratios analysis dashboard. If we go to, let's say, income statement, you see that there's no data imported, but you still get the structure and all the periods. So let's go ahead and import a file. Once I select the file, I get the import wizard, which has 5 steps. It's important to check whether the file contains headers or not. My file contains headers, so I'm checking that. And then make sure that you're on the right spreadsheet tab. So this is it. Clicking next, it detected the line names, and it asks me to select line codes. If I've previously worked with the platform and I exported a template in Excel and use that to type in data and import it, I can select the codes here and everything will be mapped automatically. Since we don't have that here, I'm just going to click next and make sure that I understand I'm skipping the line code selection. This will then show me which line items are mapped and which are new. So you see that cost of sales, because we have the same name in our income statement as the template has, it's already mapped, but my items sold are not mapped. And as it is now, it will create a new line, but this line won't be part of the logic and the template. So I want to map it to an existing line. And if I start typing here, so I have number of items sold, click that. Then my revenue, see what we have for revenue. I think we have sales. Cost of sales is mapped. We'll go down, salaries and benefits. I'm going to map that to general and admin expense. Supplies are also going to be general and admin expense. Hired services, the same. And for advertising and marketing, I'm going to use selling expenses. Then you see that by default formulas and empty rows as well are switched off. So I don't want to import total operating expenses because usually I would have a formula within the platform that calculates it. So I'm going to leave those as off. Then depreciation and amortization is already mapped, and other non-operating expenses. Just going to look for non-operating expenses. Here it is. I don't need the totals. And then taxes, I'm also going to add them to non-operating expenses for simplicity. And that's it. I have all my lines mapped, so I don't need to adjust any of the formulas. I'm going to click next. Shows me all the lines that I've mapped and which line I've mapped them for. And I have to select the period columns. So I'm going to click once and then click to 2021. Next, that's a preview of what's going to get imported. Click import, and at this point you can either replace or merge because everything is zeros, but when you're adding additional data and you don't want to replace already existing data, then you'll pick merge, otherwise replace. And here I have the data imported up to year 2021. I'm going to remove 2022 for now, delete the whole period, and then I can go ahead and do the same for my balance sheet statement. Go in it, import file, pick the balance sheet here. And here on the mapping one, you can see that more were picked. Just need to map all the others. Next, select the periods that I want to import. Next, import, replace. And here's my data for the balance sheet. The next step when I want to use a template for my own company would be to go over to the assumptions and make sure that there are no assumptions that I need to change. So I have the currency string, which is in US dollars. I have my return on assets hurdle rate, which is 10%, and the return on equity hurdle rate at 12%. Those look fine for me, so we can just go to reports and to open the profitability ratios report. So this was predefined as part of the template to do various tables and charts and do some logic. Let's say this one calculates the average gross margin, the maximum and minimum, the EBITDA margin, and provide some written analysis on those. Because we mapped our imported data to pre-existing line items, everything should work straight out of the box. I'm just gonna hit launch report. And we can see that we get sales, the gross margin, gross profit margin, EBITDA, net income. We get a chart outlining how everything looks. And then we get some written, like a narrative analysis of how the company has performed over the period. It automatically gets the beginning and end. XYZ Limited operated at an average gross profit margin of 59.7%. The company operated at its highest GP margin, 61.7% in 2018, and at its lowest in 2021. This goes on, then provides some general information on return on assets, some analysis around return on assets, a table with the calculation, a chart visualizing how the metric changed over time, and then the same for return on equity and return on sales. And the biggest advantage is that if we go back to data imports, if we just follow the same approach and import data for 2022, for our income statement, our balance sheet. We can just go back to the report, right-click Launch Report, and you see that it automatically calculates everything and everything is adjusted so it includes 2022. This is also reflected in the narrative down here. In a nutshell, that's how you can use the platform to generate various kinds of analysis using your own data. You can look through the other templates that we have here, and we're constantly working on adding more analysis templates that you can leverage for your business or clients. Thank you for sticking with me through this demo. I hope you now have a much better understanding of how our product works and how you can use it for your own benefit.